Welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. It's the France 24 debate, and we're looking at the showdown in Gabon after Ali Bongo was provisionally declared the winner in a presidential election where he obtained Soviet-style turnout and scores in his home province. EU observers have been contesting it. We're talking about it in the company of Nino Bongo Barov of the advocacy group React. Louis Magloire-Comayou, president of the African Information Club, columnist, media consultant George Kazois. We had invited Gabon's ambassador to the United States, Michael Moussa Adamo, who unfortunately could not attend this show. For France, it's either now keep a low profile, like when the president of nearby Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso, cut the internet the weekend of his recent re-election, or intervene, like when French troops helped UN forces in Ivory Coast backing the ouster in 2011 of the president when Laurent Gbagbo refused to recognize the victory of Alassane Ouattara. So it's a bit of a tricky one. On Tuesday, the French Prime Minister then wading into the argument when it comes to Gabon.
There must be a straightforward electoral process. We've already heard things like there's a challenge and there's doubt. European observers are on hand because they reviewed and critiqued the process on the basis of objective facts. Wisdom would indicate a recount of the results.
Louis Magloire-Comayou, again, we're in this tricky portion where there's been bloodshed, there's been people killed in the streets of Libreville and elsewhere. But it hasn't spiraled out of control. Is there still time for talk, like with this African Union mediation, like with the EU, with the French, or is Ali Bongo is it gonna be full speed ahead?
It's always time to talk, but are they ready to talk, the two opponents? Are they ready? I don't think, because everyone is sure he has won. Jean-Ping has told everyone before the results were known that he won. The Electoral Commission said Bongo has won, and each of them is sure he has won and is not ready to negotiate with the other. So I'm not sure during those talks, which are starting now with those presidents who have gone to Libreville, I'm not sure that will bring a result. Anyway, let's just hope that will bring a respect of what has been said in the poll during the elections.
Do you see Ali Bongo accepting a recount in that district?
He has said the Constitution doesn't allow him to do it, so he won't do it. So it is a violation of the Constitution. That's what he has been saying this morning.
It's a vicious circle. I mean, the Constitutional Court is Ali Bongo's. It's full of his relatives and friends. So even if they do recount, why would Ping trust the results of the recount?
But the fact is,
I think that the African Union coming to Gabon, the good thing that they will do about it maybe is to try to stop Ali Bongo from killing people. Because I think that we don't talk enough about that. We don't talk about those people that are dying. We don't talk enough about those people that are in prison. Can you imagine? The official number, it's about 1,000 prisoners. They want to make it seem like it's just a group of people going and trying to break everything. They're not political people. But when we see the images, when we see the pictures, when you see the videos, we see that they are not those kind of people. There are people that are Gabonese that just want their vote to be counted. They want their voice to be heard. And I think that we cannot stay, how long will we stay like that? When will the government stay deaf to the will of people? So I think that maybe that's the good thing that they can do about it. Now, Ali Bongo said that constitutionally he cannot ask for, there's nothing that says that. The Minister of Justice, maybe you have heard it, just decided to leave the government and to discharge from his mission. And he, more than anybody, since we're talking about the Minister of Justice, says the same thing. He said that, he's for the recounting of the votes.
Yeah,
because I think he's denying justice.
No, he
so
just
how
sees
can we
which way
trust
the
that?
wind is blowing. He sees which way the wind is blowing.
Well,
Come on, it's the same thing with the former prime minister, with the former head of the National Assembly. They see which way the wind is blowing. They see that France supports Ping, so Ping will be president.
No,
you
I
say,
don't
you,
think.
hold on. You
I
say
don't think.
Go ahead.
I don't think that France support Ping. I think that the European community it's really difficult today to come and say, okay, everything went well in Gabon when you have a commission, a European commission that says that it's not, you know. And we know that it's an agreement that was drawn between the European community and the Gabon.
George Cazolis, what makes you say that France supports Ping?
Last February, the French Prime Minister said on television he didn't think the last Gabonese elections were irregular. When was the last time you heard a French Prime Minister do that about a president that France supports? Last October, Jean Ping was here. He met with everybody in the government. France has not had a hard time in some other countries with not recounting or with cheating or whatever. I'm sure a lot of Laurent Gbagbo's friends will appreciate what France is doing in Gabon today. I think that
Guinea with Alpha Condé.
Yes. So the question is, how are they going to get Ping in power? Ping will go in power. I mean, recounting, of course, will de-escalate.
All right. Let me so our viewers can understand. Is there a falling out between Ali Bongo and the French?
Well, the fact is, he has been helped by France Afrique in 2009. I mean, Nicolas Sarkozy and his friends.
France had a different president. It was a conservative.
We have a different president.
Now it's from a different camp.
Yes. And what I think is, it is very difficult today to know what will happen. But just by looking between the lines, what's happening? We are in a region where Boko Haram is going on. We are in a region where Congo has been going through really good difficulties. Mali is still there. We have those Islamic State where... Do you think today someone will send troops in Gabon to help in solving a post-electoral crisis? I don't think so. Anyway, what is very terrific is that people are dying. People are dying because politicians cannot discuss each other. And what can we do in that case? I don't know. I don't have the answer.
So the responsibility is with the people of Gabon and the politicians in Gabon first and foremost.
But that's not where the solution is. It all depends on what the army and the police will do. And that army and police were created by France and trained by France. And will Bongo be able to continue to pay their salaries? Because I met a lot of civil servants in Gabon who hadn't been paid in 3 months. So, everything depends on what the police and the army will do in Gabon.
But let me ask you about this, George, because France has 10,000 expatriates in the country. Most of those people are business people. What do business people want? They want stability. They don't want a big upheaval. So how can you say then that the French would be actively pushing Ali Bongo under the bus?
Well, because Gabon is very unstable, and it's been unstable and getting more unstable for a number of years since the economic crisis started. Then with the fall of the price of petrol, less money to go around. School classes have more than 100 kids in them. Hospitals have been closed. People often don't have electricity or water. The situation, and civil servants, like I said, I met civil servants who hadn't been paid in 3 months. So the situation is already unstable. Getting somebody new in there might buy some time for some new stability. And who knows, maybe some sort of change. I mean, Ali Bongo said he was going to change some things. He wanted to do that, build more houses, build more hospitals, invest in schools. Didn't work out that way, but his oil resources fell by half.
Well, I think it's quick to say all the oil price fell, so that's why everything is going wrong in Gabon. I think it's not
70% of government revenue.
But I think that he had 7 years when the oil was at his maximum level. What did he do? Why is there that in 2016 we still have 100 students in classes? So I think it's too easy to say it like that. But now, the case that we have now is that we had the elections. People went to vote. People just want their voice to be heard. So what is the solution from now on? We cannot go back to what Ali Bongo has done and what he has done.
France's role then, because if the French intervene, it's what we call here the France-Afrique. If they stay out of it, you're not helping. You're letting a bloodbath transpire.
Well, I think that's something really that amuses me. Because,
how should Paris do?
Because I think that Paris has always been there. You know, whether it's obvious or not, they're there. So whether they do it up front or not, what will it change? They have always been there. So people saying because they're sending their army, there is an army basis in Gabon. You know, so
the French have an army base.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, so what will it change? I don't think that he will come and take Ali out. And we're trying to do things the soft manner, but you know, what will it change?
Ali Bongo's father was anointed by General de Gaulle when he took over in 1967. Omar Bongo, who financed many a French political campaign. He had 2 French ministers sacked during his tenure. Sometimes he sent cash to both left and right. His 2009 funeral, a veritable who's who that included the then president Nicolas Sarkozy and his predecessor Jacques Chirac. Sarkozy, who was booed for suggesting an end to France's special relationship with Africa, and for not calling off the magistrates here in Paris investigating Bongo's alleged ill-gotten gains. 2 years earlier, before Sarkozy's election, Omar Bongo spoke to French television.
France colonized us. They did what they did, and they did what they could. But I think France is starting to falter, so it's time to find new partnerships.
Louis Magloire-Camaillou, Omar Bongo, you could say, was a kingmaker in this country.
Yes, of course. Yes, because he knew all the politicians from Charles de Gaulle up to Sarkozy, who is the last one, and he has been helping lots of new politicians growing in the career. So he has helped both from socialist to the left now, and he had. That was going on because he had the oil money from Gabon, and he was using that money to pay, I remember, what's his name again? Bernard Kouchner, who prepared a program on the health in Gabon, who was paid a huge amount for 4 tripages in a program that is not a special program. Anyone could have done it. Constat that to make sure that nothing is going on as it should go in Gabon. That is the only thing he did, but he was paid a lot of money for that.
Talk has been that, George was talking about conspiracy theories, that there's payback because too much cozying up to the Chinese, Ali Bongo visiting Barack Obama at the White House and perhaps trying to put his eggs in several baskets. And you heard Omar Bongo there saying, well, the French have to watch out. We have lots of different friends.
But the fact is, Gabon is still using a currency called franc CFA, and that money is here.
It's printed in France.
Printed in France, and is even, how can I say that? The money is here in Banque de France, and the French, how?
It's stored.
Stored in the Bank of France, yes.
So everything in Gabon goes on when France is looking at it. If they don't agree, nothing will go on. So I don't know how you can change position. You can just have new friends. Why not? But the influence of France will stay as good as it is up to now. He has had some friends in Singapore. He has gone to Rwanda to show off that Gabon is now a bilingual country where they speak French and English. But it is not enough. Since you are keeping those links with France through the money, through the currency, you are a French colony. You are still a French colony.
And we have to remind people, we're talking about a country with just a little over 1.5 million people that has all this importance. And it has all this importance because of its oil, uranium, and magnesium. And thanks to Gabon, France became an energy-independent nation. And it's still an important source of revenue for the French. And I'm sure that Mr. Bolloré and Mr. Bouygues are not happy with Ali Bongo giving construction contracts to the Chinese, for example.
Louis-Magloire, when you compare with the symbiotic relationship exists in a lot of former French African colonies, when you compare with your native Cameroon, though, Gabon is something special.
Yes, of course. Cameroon was not a French colony. What happened is that we were a German colony, and when Germans lost First and Second World War, we were given as a gift to French and Germany, England. So we are not a colony. But what is important here to know is Gabon in Central Africa is like Ivory Coast in Western Africa. It is a very important pole for the energy independence of France, for oil and for magnesium and uranium also.
So and with images like this one here of General de Gaulle with a young Omar Bongo, Cameroonians have the impression that the Gabonese somehow were the teacher's pet or the head of the class. How do Cameroonians feel about that?
No, we had it also with Amadou Ahidjo, the president who was there before Paul Biya, who had very tough links with France, with General de Gaulle through Focard, who was the
Mr. Africa of de Gaulle.
He was like the director of the school. So all of them came to him to know what to do, what not to do. And you had the same position in Cameroon, in Gabon, and in Congo also.
Well, I think that what has changed is the population has changed. If back in 1916 less people were educated, we have now people that are educated. We have people that have PhD. We have many people that are, really quality people in Gabon. I think that the first, like we say, the riches of Gabon is not uranium. It's the people. It's the people. People are really. It's not the same population. And I think that this population, and when you see the riots, when you see among the people are out, you have a young population, which means that the youth is desiring for something new, something else. They don't want to be in this old path with old ways. They want something new. They want to know that if they vote for somebody, will have a ping or whatever. No, today is ping, but in 7 years, if he has done a good job, we want to know that if we don't want him, we will be able to let him to get him out through elections, And I think that the fact that we are denied that today will affect the rest of the youth and what they see and how the hopes that they have for the country.
George Cazolis, on this point, we have seen in the last couple of years that there have been upheavals, most notably.
And we confuse a lot of these upheavals with quest for democracy when what people really want, justice and jobs. And if these young people you're talking about, I think Ping will eventually be the president of Gabon. If these young people are really disappointed and the situation continues to go south as it has been especially since 2013, then the potential for an explosive situation could be much worse well before 7 years down the line.
That happened already in Central African Republic, for example. You had Patassé, who won the election, the first democratic election since the independence of the country, and then within 3 years there was a big revolution, and he had a coup d'état, and he left the power.
And more recently, what we saw in Burkina Faso, where a strong man of 30 years is pushed out by the youth.
And there we saw a positive outcome so far, at least. I mean, we have a democratically elected government which is really trying to do something to improve the conditions of the people. But it doesn't always happen that way.
But that's the challenge. I think that's the challenge. That's the choice of the people.
Reaction on the hashtag F24 debate. Incumbency is losing its grip in Africa. It started in Malawi, then Nigeria, now Gabon. Which country is next? Louis-Magloire, which country is next?
Maybe DRC?
Maybe the Democratic Republic of Congo? We've got an election coming up there. The incumbent...
I don't know if that will take place, but...
We don't know if it'll take place. It's being delayed so much that we're going to have constitutionally, I think, a bit of a power vacuum. Will, drawing again from what has just happened in Gabon, is this going to help the push to have a free and fair, open election in such a vast country or not?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because, as I was telling you before, when you look at the elections that went this last time in Congo and in Chad, they were not fair. They were not fair, obviously, but nothing happened. They are still there. You have the same in Burundi. The situation is very tough there in those three countries, but nothing has happened. How can we consider that will change in DRC or in another country when you have such situations where people have been going to polls, they've said what they want, and no one has been hearing it? So I'm really pessimistic concerning it.
All right, a pessimistic note from Louis Magloire-Camaillou. It'll be our final word for now. I want to thank you. I want to thank George Cazolis. I want to thank as well Nino Bongo-Barov. Again, the late cancellation of the Gabon's ambassador to the United States to our show. We regret it. We hope he'll come on next time. Stay with us. Our Media Watch segment is next. And we say hello now to Diptyque Laurent.
Hi, François.
Lots of reactions
Yes.
to what's going on in Gabon and this standoff, which is playing out now over, what, a week and a half?
That's right. Let's start with this article from L'Opinion, which is a French newspaper. Very explosive sort of revelations from this article. Basically, the paper says that it's all a conspiracy. And now sort of the tables have been turned, and Ali Bongo is accusing Jean-Ping of electoral fraud. Basically, they call it Diane Gate, and the newspapers obtained 2 recordings of telephone conversations between Jean-Ping and Mamadi Diane, who is actually a presidential advisor to the president of Côte d'Ivoire, Alassane Ouattara. And in the first conversation, they discuss international reactions following the election from the US and French. But in the second conversation, there's sort of these revelations. Basically, L'Opinion says that the US ambassador to Libreville, her name is Cynthia Akwete, she's married to a man who allegedly worked for Mamadi Diane, the presidential advisor, who works in Washington. So Ali Bongo is sort of crying foul. He's saying there's this conspiracy from Côte d'Ivoire and the US to bring him down. And he even says that Diane brought in cyber criminals to hack into government.
Diane, who's been sacked as an advisor to Ouattara. So there obviously was something going on.
And he even sent a letter to apologize to the Gabonese government. President.
Do you think he did his consultancy work without the knowledge of Ivory Coast's president?
His wife said he could not do it without asking the authorization of the president. I don't know what happened, President.
I think all the candidates have people counseling them all around the world. So, yes.
So these are guns for hire.
But I think that crying for conspiracy, when everything goes well and nobody says anything, there's no conspiracy. But when the thing doesn't go on your way, it's conspiracy. We just need to stop with that.
So very explosive allegations from L'Opinion. They actually called in their article episode 1, so maybe there are more episodes to come.
Okay.
We'll have to hold on. I mean, otherwise on the internet, Ali Bongo's kind of been hammering on Twitter. He's been very active today on Twitter, sort of reminding people of his electoral promises and saying, I'm here to support you. And, in return, people are saying, well, you say you're committed to taking care and so forth, but look at the state that you've put the country in, and, Gabonese people continue to be, persecuted. And also the president has obviously been tweeting to attack his rival, Jean-Ping. He said, in one tweet, 73-year-old Ping is not going to begin a career of a Democrat, not now. That's something he's never had. But, the reactions have sort of been, well, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, really. One user said, well, an old man wiser in his old age is still better than a, quote, spoiled child addicted to power.
George Cazolis, this doesn't bode well. This is what Louis Magloire was talking about. Neither side sounds like they want to talk right now.
Yeah, but they have to. They can't allow their country to spin out of control and into anarchy and chaos. They just can't.
All right. Deeptika, any more on this?
Yeah, there's a lot more sort of, well, negative reactions. I want to show you this tweet here from Liberté du Gabon. They ask Ali Bongo, what more do you need for you to admit your defeat? Do you need more blood? Do you need more protests? And there's a great picture here. I'll see if I can scroll down, of recent protests across the world, really, following those elections in Gabon. And, there's a really interesting article from a website called Frontera, that's this one here, which actually says, okay, we know that the African Union are sending in delegates to diffuse the crisis. And, really it's the US and France who've historically had those international partnerships. But China could play a role, if it so wishes, in this crisis. Obviously, Jinping is half Chinese. He's sort of always been, seen himself as an ambassador between China and Gabon when it comes to trade and so forth. But the question is, does China really want to step in politically in Gabon? I mean, that's a question that remains to be seen.
Right, China already involved in East Africa. Of course, it's a mediation that we'll wait for. We'll see how the other mediations go first. I want to thank you, Deeptika Laurent. I want to thank our panel once again. Thank you for joining us here in the France 24 debate. More on Gabon on our website, france24.com.